It's your weekly video. Let's talk about how the local news is lying to you about fentanyl exposure. Because we've seen the stories, right? A cop gets some powder on his skin and he has a pounding heart and tingling extremities and he faints. And then the rest of the police are like, it was fentanyl exposure. And the local news is like, it was fentanyl exposure. And doctors are over here saying, hey guys, you can't actually get fentanyl into your bloodstream through your skin. That's why people who use fentanyl smoke it or snort it or inject it. They don't rub it on their face. This is literally impossible. And also, those symptoms that I just described, those are the symptoms of a panic attack. They are not the symptoms of actual fentanyl exposure, which would be sedation. Because police have been scared out of their wits about fentanyl exposure, so they have panic attacks if they even touch the stuff. So here's the problem. When the media reports on fentanyl exposure, first of all, the vast majority of reporting is local news. 80% of the stories on police fentanyl exposure are local. And the Center for Just Journalism just reviewed hundreds of these stories and found a few things that are really troubling about the basic due diligence of the media. One, the vast majority of these stories don't bother to talk to a doctor about whether this type of exposure is even possible. In a review of over 300 stories, about 250 of them talked to police and only 35 of them even talked to a doctor. Second, the journalists aren't even confirming that this is fentanyl. We all know how bad field testing is on drugs. I did a video on it. And yet of these stories, only about 12% include confirmation that the substance was tested and was in fact fentanyl. And about 80% don't even mention any confirmatory testing at all. Only about 12% of these stories express any doubt about the police narrative. The vast majority express no doubt, write down what the police said about fentanyl, and give it to the public. And here's why this is bad. Of about 500 stories reviewed in this report, there were about 70 million views of those stories on Facebook alone. So this misinformation filters into the public bloodstream and makes people choose really punitive, scary policy solutions on substance use problems, which are better dealt with through medical means.